What's good, everybody? This your boy Blackout Jones, and I'm here to recap the SEC Media Days from yesterday with the Tennessee Volunteers. I'm going to go over Josh Heupel's statements along with Arion Carter, Bryson Eason, and Miles Kitselman. And I'm going to talk about that and a whole lot more here at Just Shooting the Sports. Let's get it. Well, let's go ahead and get to it. First up, the quarterback competition. So, Josh Heupel kind of elaborated on the quarterback competition that's going to happen this summer, definitely during summer workouts leading into the season. And for the most part, he talked about how, during his tenure here at Tennessee, he's been going through this every single year. Like, who's going to be the quarterback? Now, there have been times during his tenure that, okay, we know in 2022, Hendon Hooker was going to be the quarterback. We knew in 2023, Joe Milton was going to be the quarterback. And we also knew in 2024 that Nico Iamaleava was going to be the starting quarterback. But let's kind of go back to 2021. 2021, it was Joe Milton that won the starting position, that won the starting job. And in the first game, he was decent. He was okay. He had the arm. Of course, everybody knows he had the arm. But against Pittsburgh, or Pitt, to be exact, just overthrowed a lot of players. I mean, there was a time where in that game, we should have been up 28-0. No question. Everybody was wide open. But the man just couldn't. He just wasn't accurate, and he just overthrew a lot of people. And then all of a sudden, what happens? He gets hurt. Here comes Hendon Hooker. Now, what I was hearing that Hendon Hooker wasn't a great, practice player, or he didn't show enough to be the starter. But sometimes, man, even the best, even the worst, or not the best practice players, they become great players when the lights get turned on. And that's basically what happened with Hendon Hooker. And he took the reins, and boom, we were off and running. Okay. Then around 2023, Joe Milton comes in, and we're thinking, after we saw that bowl win against Clemson, oh, Joe Milton's going to be this, he's going to be that. Come to find out, he was okay, not accurate. He was off on a lot of passes. Just he didn't. What could have been, he didn't become. Plain and simple. Case in point, Alabama game. We're only up 20-7 at the half. Should have been up at least by 28-0, if not 35-0, or maybe 31-0. But that game shouldn't even been close. But if he was accurate enough and he was able to make the plays that he should have made, there's no way we would have lost that game. I don't care what Alabama would have done. We wouldn't have lost that game. But that's nor here nor there. So then Joe Milton finishes the season. Here we go. We got Nico. Nico comes in. Of course, he does the bowl game. And, of course, everybody's like, oh, man, he did this and he did that. He didn't really do too much. And on top of that, Iowa didn't really have too many people, that were there. But it don't matter. Tennessee won the game, and he did what he was supposed to do, manage the game and win the game. Plain and simple. But then the next year, 2024, the hype was there, and he did okay. We got to the college football playoffs, but I can't say he led us there. We all know who led us there. Dylan Sampson, defense, plain and simple. But anyway, now we're here. Joey Aguilar, Jake Merklinger, and of course, George McIntyre. Now, it's fantastic that he said, hey, we're going to have a quarterback competition. The best player is going to win that competition, and they're going to start for the University of Tennessee. But, like he said here, I'll read a quote here from VolQuest. We've been through it before. That's here at Tennessee. That's here at Tennessee in different spots that I've been. At the end of the day, those guys got to continue to grow every single day. So being in the building, learning our offense, learning defensive structures, and having an opportunity to go out on the field, work through it, grow every single day. And that's what you got to do if you want to be a starter anywhere, in college or even in the NFL, but especially here at Tennessee. And then they asked him, well, what did he like about Joey Aguilar? And he said that, well, we've had an opportunity to be out there with him, throwing a little bit. And fundamentally, there are some things that we have to hit on with him that he's continuing to grow throughout the course of the summer. Now, that is very true because I've seen his highlights. And there have been times where you're like, what are you doing? Why are you throwing it there? And then sometimes they catch it, sometimes he gets picked off. But his accuracy, meh at best. But he has, Josh Heupel and Joey Halzle to take care of that, to tweak those techniques, to kind of get his foot in the right place, because those feet wasn't in the right place when he was throwing the ball, man. It wasn't good. And I know people say, well, he didn't have a line, and he didn't have skilled players. Man, your footwork ain't got nothing to do with that line, and it sure as hell ain't got nothing to do with your skilled players. So, and the accuracy as well. So it is what it is. But it seems like to me, they like what they see in this man. And even, from the players that were also there, like Arion Carter, Bryson Eason, and Miles Kitselman, they also like him as well. They say he didn't come in with this bravado like, yo, I'm a veteran and and I should be starting. He didn't do any of that, man. He pretty much, put out the olive branch, and and he's like, and I've heard from people that actually go to App State. He's a born leader. He leads really well. He leads his team, and he's a great locker room leader as well. So that's good. That's good to hear. Then of course, they talked about the Nico Iamaleava drama. I'm gonna say this about Josh Heupel, man, and this is a great move on his part. When he mentioned about Nico, of course, no one's bigger than the brand. That's one. But two, even though Nico is not there anymore, Josh Heupel was like, I love the kid. I wish him the best. The situation, was the situation, but I love him, and that's great to say. That's great to hear, because you don't want to sit out here and bash the player, because then you still got to go recruit. You still got these players that are actually listening to these SEC media days. They're listening what you're saying on that podium, and they're going to take those to heart. But for you to sit here and say, no one's bigger than the brand, and I love Nico regardless of what the situation was. Hey, I tip my hat off to you, coach. So great move on your part, and that's how it's supposed to be. There's no love lost. There's no bad blood. Hey, somebody had to make a move, and regardless of who made the move first, the move was made, plain and simple. And then, I want to touch on a guy from I guess he was from the Georgia media. He was talking about, how will, the Vols overcome Georgia, after, the past, ever since his tenure. He has not beaten Georgia. That's really the only team that he has not touched out of the three that we normally play. I mean, he torched LSU, but we don't play them, often. But he whooped them out with Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors on that offense. Secondly, he's beaten Alabama twice in his tenure so far. He's also beaten Florida twice in his tenure. So he just can't get over the Georgia hump. Understand something. Georgia has outscored Tennessee in his tenure 137-57. They have not been close whatsoever. Last year was probably the closest game that it ever was, just from the eye test. Now, we can sit here and talk about 2022, 27-13, but it wasn't close by no means whatsoever. Not like last year's game. So that's just what it is. But at this point, we got to figure out a way to beat Georgia. Playing them early is probably a good time to play them. Why? Because Georgia really doesn't get rolling until later on in the season. Normally with Georgia, struggle bus is usually early in the season. So I feel very confident in our Tennessee Volunteers to get that win. Now, with that being said, comes the second point. Probably the 1, 2, 3, fourth point that I have. The offensive scheme and what changes will be made to the offensive scheme. Because understand something, Heupel said it best. He said the first couple of years, he said the defense wasn't really on what we were doing. And then after that, the defense of the other teams started figuring out how to play this Josh Heupel offense. With that being said, I think that's why he brought in Seth Latrell, a guy that he played with at Oklahoma. They both won the national championship. And, since then they've been friends, and they've been, they worked with each other here and there. But I think that's the reason why he brought in Seth Latrell, because I truly believe Seth Latrell is going to be our Alex Golesh. Now, Joey Hosley, he's still going to run the offense along with Josh Heupel. Can't tell me nothing different, but I think it's a team effort when it comes to the offense in regards to Joey and Josh. But I truly believe that Seth Luttrell is going to bring something different to the offense, and we're going to definitely see some changes. And change is good because we definitely need to evolve that offense. Now, I kept saying ever since Alex Golesh left, we have not been the same. I don't care what you say. We have not been the same since Alex Golesh left. You can even tell, just look at the highlights. Just go back 2021, 2022, when Alex Golesh was there, and then compare it to 23 and beyond. Totally different. Totally different. Man, for y'all that are definitely, volunteer fans, I know you've seen it, and you're probably going to agree with me on that. And then my fifth and final point in regards to Josh Heupel, the Ohio State game, leaving a bad taste in their mouths. That's something that everyone has been harping on, except for Bryson Eason. Bryson Eason didn't harp on it like everyone else. He pretty much was like, look, the past is the past. We're focused on today. We're focused on now. And we just need to take care of our business and everything else will play out. But everyone else pretty much was on par with, yeah, it left a bad taste in our mouth. Now, what we're going to do moving forward to clean those mistakes up and play great football and get back to the college football playoff and actually win, if not win a couple of games in the playoffs, but you know what it is. We're there to win national championships and to win the SEC championship. But don't get it twisted. I think this year's team is going to be 2022. I truly believe that. They're definitely under the radar. They're not going to be the favorite. I'm waiting to see what the prediction is going to be in regards to what they feel like we are in the SEC and where we rank. Like I said, I think we'll be either 7 or 8. I get it because of the quarterback position, but I think they're locked in. I think with the whole Nico situation, they never whatever they were locked into, that stayed. Because I will say this across the board, as far as the players are concerned, they all were like, hey, we're just worried about the players that are here in the building. We can't worry about what's outside of the building because outside of the building is not going to help us win football games. But we wish him the best. We have no lost love for him, no bad blood for him, and I hope he does well at UCLA. Um, with and that's basically it with Josh Heupel. Now everyone else, not gonna go too deep with the players. As far as what I did hear from them, they spoke well. They gave their insight on how their position, how their teammates in their position as far as like tight end, defensive line, and linebacker, how they've been able to lead them and show them the way and tell them, hey, and show them that what Tennessee football and the culture is all about. But I do want to shed light on one more thing here before I go. Josh Heupel said it best today, and I feel real good about this because I think it's about time. Plus, they have no choice. These young players, you ain't young anymore. You got to play big boy ball now. It's time to be a man. It's time to show what you can do. It's time to show why you was a 4-star, why you was a 5-star, why you were number 1 or number 2 in your state. It's grow up time. And Heupel put everybody on notice, including the coaching staff. I want you to coach them to the point where they're next man up. If not next man up, they are starting as a freshman, whether it's true or whether it's a red shirt. But they're starting because they are definitely going to put in the work and be a part of this team and contribute at a high level. Now, that's something I'm excited to see because come August 30th at 12 noon against Syracuse, I think Tennessee's going to put on a show. And I don't even think it's going to be close. And I truly believe that. But until then, we're going to get to that. And I'm going to get to my prediction on that game. And I'm going to talk about that game down the road. When it gets closer to that game, I will be doing a video on Tennessee versus Syracuse in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But until then, this your boy Blackout Jones. I appreciate y'all for listening, for watching, for commenting, giving your feedback. I also want to appreciate everyone that has subscribed to this channel. I definitely want to give a big thank you to all my subscribers who has allowed me to reach 200 subscribers. For me, that's a feat. And I'm going to continue to grow. You know, I had somebody in the comments, they said, man, what did they say? They said it's criminal that you only had 100, at the time, you only had 186 subscribers. Man, listen, I love what I do. I love talking about Tennessee football. I love talking about Tennessee, period, whatever sport it may be. I also love talking about other sports. Now, I haven't talked about my other teams, you know, and things that have been going on in other, you know, other aspects of, you know, Major League Baseball and things of that nature. But right now, Tennessee football is hot. We're getting closer to kickoff. A lot of recruiting is going on. A lot of important things are going on at the University of Tennessee. So that's why I have felt that I need to continue to talk about the University of Tennessee each and every day. Now, we got a commitment coming tomorrow. Of course, it's Kamari Blair at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, which will be 7 Eastern. Like I say, he's choosing between Ole Miss, South Carolina, and of course the University of Tennessee. And then July 17th, we got Craig Tutt. As far as I know, I want to say Ole Miss and Tennessee. I can't think of who the other team is, but it looks like Craig Tutt is probably going to go to Ole Miss. I'm also hearing Kamari Blair may be going to Ole Miss as well, but that's kind of up in the air. We really don't know what's going on with that, but I'm hoping that he continues the hot streak for the Tennessee Volunteers and that he commits to the Tennessee Volunteers tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow, today. I don't know why I keep that. Today, and then Craig Tutt is tomorrow. Yeah. Well, anyway, with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all. And as I always say when I talk about the Tennessee Volunteers, go Big Orange, go Vols.